I jumped through the window and tried to stop him and all this, but anyway, I was just devastated. I came from Nashville. That's my home, and that's where I've done all my work, most all of my work. And when I first came to Gat3, I thought, whoa, so someplace like this exists in Charlotte. And I had no clue that a studio with such state-of-the-art equipment and engineers and the staff was just incredible, blew my mind. So I developed a friendship with Glenn through the years, and when he invited me down here to play, I was just really taken back by all of it, because in Nashville I thought everything was state of the art there, and I didn't think anything was going to compare with that, but I was certainly wrong. So being a bass player, I think bass starts with tone. I really honed a lot of my tone skills down here at Gat3, and through Glenn's praise, I guess, it was undeserved. I remember when I started bringing my Sadowskis down here, that Glenn was really taken by this one blue one I had, and of course it sounded exceptionally well. It took a lot. I mean, it took everything I had to buy this guitar, and it took a year to make it, and it was just such an incredible instrument. We just finished Josh Turner's first record, Long Black Train, and I stopped at a gas station to use the restroom. I mean, I was in there 5 minutes, and I came out, somebody's trying to drive off my truck, and I jumped through the window and tried to stop him and all this, but anyway, I was just devastated. So in the meantime, I had Sadowski make me another one, and identical to it, it was supposed to be. And I came down here and brought it, and it sounded great, but man, my heart was broken. And Glenn tried to encourage me, said, it sounded great and all this, but it was gone. It was over. I mean, I searched for it forever. And about 4 years went by. Roger Sadowski called me. And I was in a session, I'll never forget it. And I called Roger back, and he said, hey, I found your bass. I said, what? He said, yeah, I found your Sadowski. He said, actually, I didn't find it. Somebody found me and that has it. And so what had happened was somebody stole it and took it to this guy and was going to sell it to this guy, but ended up not coming back. I think while he was gone, he got thrown in jail for something else. But so this guy calls Roger looking for the owner of that bass. So this guy in Florida that had it, he was homeless, actually. Ever since he had my bass, he said he was cursed in every way he turned, I took it, when I got that bass made, I took it to church and had the preacher, pray over it and bless it. So, I believe that the Lord works in mysterious ways. But anyway, he had the bass and wanted to get it back to me because his grandfather was on his deathbed and told him that he had something he needed to get back to somebody to make things right in his life. And sure enough, he hunted me down. And but like I was saying, the guy that had my bass was in Florida, but he had my bass in storage because he knew it was special and it needed to be, looked after. But when I finally got in touch with the guy, when he answered the phone, he was in tears, and he sent the bass back to me. I offered to pay him and pay him for ship, everything. But when the bass came back to me, it was like the day it was gone, not a scratch on it, nothing, except it still had some glass in the pockets in the case where they'd busted out the window. But this kid, he didn't steal it, he just had it. But it was nothing short of a miracle. At that point, I guess, Glenn, he had the heart to tell me, well, the new one never did sound as good as the old one, which I knew that. The thing about Gat3 is, the family and the friendship I really developed down here. It went way further than just a business. But I met some great players here and really built a bond with some guys here. Tony Creasman, I guess, probably my favorite drummer in the world. And I can't wait to get down here and work with him all the time. And David Johnson, what can you say about Dave? I mean, he's just such a freak of nature in such a good way. Just can play anything better than anybody else, every instrument. And I've learned a lot here. I've learned a lot about recording and learned a lot about really who I am and who I want to surround myself with. And anyway, it's just been a great ride to be here. I remember one time, believe it or not, this is so crazy. I left Nashville to come down here. I was booked on a gig down here maybe a couple of days. And man, I got down here and realized I didn't bring a bass. Could you freaking believe I left my bass at home? So I scrambled around and ended up borrowing one. I borrowed one the morning of the session. And it was nothing like I was used to playing or nothing, nothing like the sound I had, but Glenn never griped a bit. We just plugged on through it and nobody knew the difference. And I was a nervous wreck, obviously. But anyway, we got through that, and we got through a lot of stuff. I don't know, about 5 or 6 years ago. And man, I drove all night. I was so tired. I've been working a whole lot, and I just didn't get enough sleep. So coming down here, I went to sleep actually, and ran into one of these walls, on 85, and I was probably moving. And I hit that divider wall, that big concrete wall. And I didn't get hurt or anything, but the oddest thing about it is I didn't even want to look at my truck because I knew it was tore all to pieces. Because I hit it hard and it woke me up. I was awake then. I drove on in here wide awake. But when I got here and I got out and walked around to look at my truck, there was not a scratch on it. It scratched the mirror, but it didn't put a scratch on my truck. I guess the angels were watching me coming down here and seeing Glenn and his family. I brought my daughters down here, and he's played with their daughters when they were wee high, and while I was in there recording, and always felt at ease, and could always, always had a shoulder to lean on, even on personal and private things, that I could always air it out with Glenn, and he'd give me a hug or whatever I needed and support me. The good Lord was looking after me, so I guess I was headed to the right place.